What's up, guys? It's Max, and these are the 10 worst kettlebell swing mistakes. Let's go. Kettlebell swings are an amazing total body exercise. They're also really great for burning fat and strengthening your core. The problem is, many people are doing them wrong and even worse, getting injured. That's why in this video, we're going to be going over the 10 worst kettlebell swing mistakes and how to fix them. So let's get into the video right now. Mistake number 1, you're wearing the wrong shoes. And I'm just going to take mine off right here. These are a pair of Nike training shoes. Training shoes are a flat bottom shoe. Most people are wearing running shoes which have a wedge on the bottom and they're angled forward because that's what you do when you run. But that's going to make you way off balance when you're swinging that kettlebell out in front of the body. There's a tipping factor, so we want to be grounded, so you want to get yourself a flat bottom training shoe. Mistake number 2, your stance is too wide. Now, wide stance like sumo squats and things, that's great, but not for kettlebell swings, okay? And we see this all the time. People are starting off really wide, and what happens is you really can't access the hip power when we're this wide. It's not your most stable base. What is? About shoulder width. So you want to jump in the air, see where you land, and that's a good starting ground for you. And then you can go a little wider. For example, if you're using one of these awesome pro-grade kettlebells, you're going to go a little bit wider, or if it's a narrower belt, that should probably be about right, about shoulder width, and then from there, you can access that hip power, and you're more stable on the ground, you'll be good to go. Mistake number 3, you're death gripping the kettlebell, and we see this a lot where people are really just holding on to this thing for dear life, and what happens there is we end up really taxing the grip, your wrist, your forearm, and we're just losing a lot of the power. It's a power loss. We're death gripping that thing, and that death grip ends up kind of making you rigid through the whole body and very mechanical. And so instead, we want to use a lighter grip, enough to hold onto the kettlebell, but really at the top of the move, you don't even need to really hold on to it that long. And so we use this hook grip. And we just hook it around. And that's the grip you should use, not the death grip. Mistake number 4 is you're muscling this thing. And muscling with the upper body is, a lot of times the death grip and the muscle goes hand in hand. And so it's just too mechanical. Kettlebell swings, there's a momentum to it. We want to use the flow. So, and that's why it's such a unique training tool. And so, muscling it would look something like this, where it's just all upper body, we're barely tapping into those legs, and that's where the power really comes from. So, I mean, you're going to get a great workout. It's going to be purely an upper body workout, a lot of shoulder stress. And you could end up really injuring those shoulders. And so instead, we want to use the legs. And so instead of muscling it, we want to think about the lower body creating the power. Mistake number 5 is you're squatting. And squats are amazing. Love squats, but the kettlebell swing is not based on a squat. It's based on more of a deadlift, a hip hinge. And so squatting, muscling it, death gripping it, these things are all kind of interlaced, usually happen together at the same time. And so that's why we kind of couple them up here on these first few mistakes that we see. So, but that would look like this, and these are squatty swings, and it's really not a swing, but I'm going to show you a couple. And so it looks like this, still a lot of muscling it on the way up, and that's because if you look, at the bottom of the swing, the kettlebell, when you squat instead of hip hinge, which is the way to fix this, hint, the kettlebell, the bottom of the bell is pointing down at the ground, so we've actually got no momentum coming up for the swing. And so that's really the problem here with this squatty version. There's no real access to the momentum of this thing, and again, it just still really ends up being inefficient. You're not going to get all the benefits that kettlebell swings have to offer. You're going to get a decent leg workout, But again, you'll still be muscling a lot of shoulder, could be shoulder issues. So instead of squatting, we want to hip hinge. So check out the difference here. On a squat, we get this really deep knee angle here, and we sit down into it. But what we'd rather do here on the kettlebell swings is barely bend the knee and then really push the hips back, loading those hips, loading the hamstrings, glutes, and the whole back side. And from there, watch the back of the kettlebell now. It ends up pointing to the back wall, and then we've got all this momentum built into the swing where we can ride that wave, baby, and that's where the magic happens. Mistake number 6 is you're totally disconnected, man. And what do we mean by that? Well, disconnection point happens on the pre-swing first, and so there's this disconnection here. So when we're squatting with it, this kind of, again, goes hand in hand. This disconnection point here, where even if you're hinging at the hip, but the kettlebell is too low, we're still hinging, but we're getting this disconnection point. So there, it's just still all upper body work. And so instead, we want to be connected. And so we want to be connected to the ground. That's first, we already talked about that. But then we want to use this hip hinge to our advantage so we can be really efficient at this exercise. And so we actually want to see this connection point, arm in on the body, touching the torso, and then also through to the inner thigh, upper inner thigh. And from there, we're totally connected until our hips pretty much all the way open up. And then we got that built-in momentum right here. And so we want to be connected, not disconnected. Mistake number 7 is you're not maintaining a neutral spine. There's 2 points that we look for when people are making this mistake of not maintaining a neutral spine. It's one, it's the pre-swing, underneath, hunkered over, and I'm exaggerating here, but where do you think the swing's gonna go if our tailbone's tucked in, we're hunkered over? It's bad news city from here. And so there's no way to fix that. Instead, we start with that kettlebell, nice tall at the top, take a deep breath in, start with the kettlebell out in front, and we have those hips loaded up, and you can see we got that hip hinge, spine is neutral, and from here we go right into our first swing. And we're looking good. Breathe with it. Straight up and down at the top. And you can see a line from ear to ankle at the top. And that's really, it's like when we do a plank, that's what we're always looking for, is glutes tight, core's tight, and from there, whole body's rigid. And so it's really like doing a plank standing up. Obviously with the swings, our hands will be out in front, but we want you to kind of correlate the two, planks and the swing at the top of the move. And the second point that we see the spine all banged out is hyperextension at the top of the swing, end up really pushing the hips forward, and right there, we're gonna bang out the back so bad. And that hyperextension in any exercise we're always cautious of. So instead of, you know why that usually happens, that hyperextension? Because we don't have good backs, we're disconnected here, and so we have no momentum, so then we end up really trying to just muscle that thing and access the hips. We're trying, but it's not happening because it's probably a bad pre-swing underneath where you're disconnected, right? But you already know about that. Mistake number 8, you're not committing. And there's actually 2 kinds of swings that you want to commit to. There's what's known as the Russian swing, which is kind of a lower swing, and then there's the American swings overhead. The CrossFit community believes that's really the main swing, and then you have more of a hard style group, which feels the lower is where it's at. And so the most common mistake is people kind of not committing to one or the other. They're both fantastic exercises. Overhead, if you have healthy shoulders, that can be a little more of an arm workout, but they all start the same. All starts with a good pre-swing, being connected, good stance, all the tips that we went over, and then we just carry it a little bit higher. If you're going to do one or the other, commit to it. And so we see a lot of times people are sort of like in this in-between spot where it's not a Russian swing, which is actually between about waist height and shoulder height. They're going sort of like up in here, and that's really a dangerous spot because the bell can kind of get away from you there and it can really come crashing down. So we want to have two top end points. We want to be somewhere waist to shoulder height for the Russian swing, and then we want to be just in front overhead for the American swings. Let me do a couple of Russian swings right now. And both swings start exactly the same. One more Russian swing, and now we're going American. Now generally, what I like to do is go heavier, work those glutes more with the Russian swings, and if I'm going to go more of a kind of a metabolic workout, and I want to really kind of go fast and furious, that's going to be more of the American style. But otherwise, I usually go Russian. Mistake number 9. You're swinging too far. And this is all about the American swing, the overhead swing we were just talking about, is swinging too far beyond your normal range of motion and end up really blowing the shoulders out. We see a lot of this happen when people come in, they don't learn it right, and the arms end up going way back up in here. So much stress on the shoulder. I will show you a couple of these swings, but it's because I love you. And these are swinging too far, and then I'll show you where we want to end up. It's just ugly up in there, and what ends up happening is the arms kind of end up bending, as you probably saw, and it's all in, it's a great effort, but it's going to end up blowing those shoulder sockets out. And so where do we want to end up instead? What's not too far? What's the right spot? It's bicep in line with the ear, right there. That's the top position. And then at the top, we just slightly angle the wrist so that the bottom of the kettlebell is pointed up and forward at the top of the move. And that's that perfect spot right there before we go back underneath. Mistake number 10. You're not following a proper movement progression. And what does that mean exactly? Well, a lot of times we'll think we really got the swings down and we'll go really too heavy and end up getting injured that way. Or not having those mechanics and end up just playing around with it, experimenting, and not really focusing on the fundamentals on all those things we just talked about. And the best thing that you can do, and it's really worth it because kettlebell swings are so great, is seek out a professional in your area. So just search personal trainer, whatever your town, city is, put that in, and hire a coach. You don't have to work with them for the rest of your life, but it's going to be a great investment for you to give you some key points. And if you're in the Danbury, Connecticut area, go ahead, go to our website, maxisbestbootcamp.com. We can help you out. We love kettlebells and do kettlebell swings in a lot of our routines. And it's the base. Kettlebell swings are the base for a lot of other kettlebell exercises that will come down the line once you master kettlebell swings. No more of those kettlebell swing mistakes for you, and now you can reap all the benefits that kettlebell swings have to offer. We hope you liked this video, you guys. If you did, be sure to smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, and if you have any questions about kettlebell swings, fitness in general, or ideas for future videos, post all that down in the comments section below. Thank you for watching this video. Have an awesome day.